All right. Good morning, Flagler County. This is Danielle Anderson, your host of Lifeline, the radio show connecting you to positivity in our community. And we've got Miss Positivity herself in the room this morning. We got Tiffany.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going good. I forgot that I was voted most positive person in Flagler County 2 years ago.
See,
so it's funny that I'm like, yeah, we were talking about being positive today, Montana and I. So I like that intro. Thank you.
There you go. And we also have Chef Montana in the house.
Whoop, whoop. First time in the house.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Montana, tell us, what are you the chef of? What kind of stuff do you like to cook?
So I have my own business. My business is named Serene Noir, so it's French for Black Mermaid. It's a luxury culinary service, so we specialize in pastries right now, so do that, and then catering businesses.
Are you new? Did you just start?
Just starting.
Are you new to life? I love that.
I'm new out here.
Well, I love food, so I'm kind of feel like I kind of know all the people that are out
see
there
the
cooking.
pictures of her stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Well, it was supposed to be about Tiffany, but it might end up turning about me. Be cooking this morning. How did you get into cooking?
I've always loved cooking ever since I was 5 years old. Kind of grew up watching Emerald Live, so that was like my inspiration there. And now I'm a recent graduate of the Culinary Institute of America.
Nice.
So yeah, I got my bachelor's in baking and pastry, and now I'm here and just trying to spread my wings and fly.
Oh, wow. We can't wait. We actually have somebody else who won, it was one of the baking TV shows. She won one of those.
Really?
Yeah. So and she's a baker here in town, too. So, we have some really fantastic culinary wizards in the community, I think.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
That's cool. I can't wait to see. I'm going to check what's your Facebook page? Do you have one?
Yes, Serene Noir.
You're going to have to spell
Right on
that
Facebook.
for the normal people.
S-I-R-N-E. Right. Noire.
Awesome. It's so funny. It's I took French for 4 years, and I know this much of it now. So I'm I always put French on myself. Would you speak another language? Yeah, French. That much.
You're like, we no. That's it. That's all I got.
That's it. All right. Well, Tiffany, you're really the girl behind the scenes doing all kinds of really amazing things, helping women in business.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit how you got started doing this.
Well, a lot of it came from work experience. I have over 25 years in corporate leadership, and it got to the point when, the world changed through COVID, and I decided I wanted to work with leaders on how to be greater for their employees. And then it got to the point as I was getting out into the community and really working and networking with women, that women were having a hard time finding their voice, whether it was in a boardroom, a courtroom, an executive office, or working with their leaders on how to ask for a raise or how to ask for positive feedback and take that and run with it. And a group of women came together with me and said, let's get together and start a group on how to do this. And I said, great. And so we did. And the first day after we created our intentions and everything, I said, in 10 weeks, you're going to put on a showcase and tell your story. And they gave me that same exact look because they said, wait, we didn't know we were going to do that. And I said, neither did I. But something told me that women's voices need to show that something came out of this and you found your voice. And we've had, I believe, 4 showcases since then. And every single woman that went up there, the goal is not to talk about your business. The goal is to explain who you are so that people can be relatable to you and feel like I can go to that person and talk to them about my mortgage or my health issues or this, because they're real and they went through it, if not even worse. So they're not going to judge me for it, and I feel safe with this person. Every single woman has been asked to speak at another engagement after they went through Women's Voices, and it wasn't because I was their agent. It was because somebody saw them and felt like they need to be heard. And that's the beauty of it. So that's how Women's Voices got started.
I've seen some of those, and those stories are just so powerful. I see women in the audience crying, because they actually connect with that person. And how do you get somebody to kind of open up? Because for all of us, it's really scary to kind of show your real self. There's the drive to be perfect.
It is. And what's interesting is that when this group gets together, I never dictate what the topic is going to be for the showcase. I ask them, pick a story when your life was great and then something happened and went downhill, and then it became greater after that moment. Like when the universe hit you, shocked you, and then you came above and you rose above that. And everybody picks the worst time in their lives, the absolute worst. I said, you could talk about, when your goldfish passed away, or, when you lost your job. But no, they talk about people being unalived in their lives, or something really, really stressful. And I take that as a testimony to the space that they create as a group of women that don't normally associate, but also in just sitting and me being vulnerable myself. I can't expect them to share their stories if I'm not sharing mine, right? And so you set intentions for what this space looks like for the next 10 weeks, but also moving forward afterwards. And at the 5-week mark, you always see it that there is a camaraderie that is built and glued together with these women because of what they've experienced and shared. And in those 5 weeks, Danielle, they haven't even talked about their story yet. That's just us being together.
And bonding.
Yeah. And, you know, when you think about when storytelling and learning and education started, it started by, you know, humans being together around a campfire and sharing experiences and stories that happened to like the younger generation so they can grow from it and learn from it. And I think getting back to that without the phones around us, without the internet around us, and just sitting and sharing what reality was for us at a point in our lives, there is that connection that happens and people realize, wow, my voice impacted somebody so much. Like, I can't wait for it to inspire somebody else. And those people that are in the audience come to me afterwards and they're like, I needed that. I needed to hear that. I didn't recognize that in myself. And that's such a beautiful thing. Like, there's so much validation and beauty that comes from this that is not monetary. There's not really like a money thing involved in this. It's the beauty of natural relationships.
It's like a spiritual awakening.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you think it's so hard for women? And it seems to be women in particular, because guys, I mean, they just don't care. They just say whatever, you know, and women, we're so driven. It's so hard for women to connect and admit those vulnerable moments to others.
I think there's a couple of things. I think that women are viewed as super strong, you know, especially as women that are mothers or have to raise a community other than themselves. And so there's a perception of, you know, if I show emotion, I'm weak. And I think that works for men too, right? That men have a certain way that they have to put themselves forward so that they don't appear a certain way. And it's funny, I was just at a leadership conference where Teresa Rand was talking about this, and she said, you know, if you look at a job description, women won't apply if they don't meet at least one of the qualifications. But if a man looks at the same one and he doesn't meet that same one, he's still applying. Even if he doesn't meet 5 of the qualifications, he's still going to apply. So there's a different, I think, kind of confidence and expectation that sometimes we place on ourselves that stop us from putting that voice forward. And there's another thing that I stress in my talks when I go and I speak at corporations and things like that. I'll say there's 2 words, assertive and aggressive. And the only difference between them is gender and race. And so when I help people with that, like neuro-linguistic programming and changing the words that we say and tell ourselves in our head, and you realize I'm not being aggressive when I say this, I'm being assertive, persuasive, I'm stating just the truth in my voice. It doesn't have to be an argument. It's just a conversation. And I think that gets rid of the nerves too, and being able to just speak your truth.
It's really hard for women to to come out and not feel that they're, you know, being that nag or whatever it is that society has kind of pre-programmed people to label those things.
Yes. And in that, I get that a lot, you know, because how can you go up there and share those raw moments and worry about what the audience is going to think about you? You know, like, are they going to judge you? Are they going to feel a certain way about you? And I've asked women, I say, is that your person though? Is that the person that's going to be with you through the rest of your life or not? Like, maybe that story just wasn't for them, and maybe that person isn't for you. Your goal isn't to, you know, make everybody happy and be a people pleaser. Your goal is to get out there and share your story and inspire at least one person in the audience, even if it's yourself. Because when you go back and you go through your story, I was just sharing this with Montana, like at lunch, I said, you know, I spoke at this conference and I'm overthinking. She said, how did it go? And I said, I'm sure it went great, but I'm overthinking the things that I said. I'm thinking about the one thing that I said to this one person, and I can't get it out of my head. And I really want to reach out and like apologize. And then I don't even know if they're even thinking about it that way. You know, I'm overthinking those small things. And so I'm not remembering the milestones of the greatness that happened. And those get slipped away. Like the relationships I made, the person that did come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. I want to do that too. Just all the feedback that's positive. We focus on that one little thing.
It's really weird like that, because those other things are really those things that build you up and help you get to that next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we tend to harp on the things that we can't change and can't control. And I was sharing this with Montana, in that you have to reflect on, if you can't change it and you can't control it, what can you do moving forward so that you can get past it? Right. And I said, sharing your story and being vulnerable about that so other people see, like, you go through the same experiences that people expect you to be the expert on. I shared about not being selected for the TEDx talk. I shared, that thank you for applying and all this stuff. And I said, people knew that I was going for it, but let me go ahead and share this and show them, yeah, I didn't get this, but it's important that you still move forward. Right. And don't put that stress on you as to why it didn't happen, but what do you want to have happen in the future? And what are you going to do differently? Because that's what you can control.
That's right. That's exactly right. What can you do different to make another opportunity for yourself? That's
it. To make that other opportunity to invent your own outcome and have control over that. And it's a matter of, do I apply to more things? Do I do other things? Do I stay on the path of what I wanted to do? Right? Because sometimes there's distractions that happen, and they're great distractions, or they're opportunities or bad things. But, what does my path look like at the end of the day? What do I want to look back on and say, I'm glad that I stayed that way, or I'm glad that I did this instead?
Somebody posted this thing on social media this morning, and it said, if you woke up 30 years ago, 1995 or whatever it was, what would you do differently this morning? What was the one thing you would do first? And I thought about it, and I was like, gosh, if I changed even one thing, I wouldn't be right here in this chair today.
Isn't that the butterfly effect? I think that's what that's called.
So, I don't know, but it made me think about it. I said, I wouldn't have my kids. Right. I wouldn't be in the job I am. I wouldn't have any of those things, even if I changed just one single thing.
Even the negative
even
things.
The bad things.
Yeah, for sure. And there's some things that I reflect on, and I'm like, I probably should have changed that or own up to that. But if you live your life based on those regrets, then you're never going to be able to move past and look forward to the future.
Yeah,
right?
Because everything gets you to where you are today.
Yes.
Good and bad.
Yeah. And I think there's a fine line and balance with that, because it can be toxic positivity to yourself if you're forcing yourself to always look at things that you've done as like that, it got me here and it got me all these experiences. But there's some times where I have to own, I messed up with that one, or I could have been a better person there. Like, I could have rised above and I didn't. I could have chose like the higher way and I didn't. And I have to acknowledge that I was a challenge there. And what can I do differently moving forward?
I think that's really the key to the takeaway, though, is what can I do? Because you can never go back and change it or fix it. It's just like, how do I deal with it moving forward and not do that again?
Right.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk also about self-care and why that is important to being successful. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much for recommending us to your family and friends. When you need a 30, 60, or 90-minute massage, it's real easy to book your appointment online. MassageByNatalie.org. MassageByNatalie.org.
Are you wondering if that old paint in your garage is still any good?
Bring it in. We'll let you know.
And while you're at it, if you need to match a color,
chip off some paint and bring it in.
Our color matching is unmatched.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive,
Palm Coast.
All right, we're back with Tiffany in Montana, and we're talking about amazing women and all the ways that you can just be successful. And I mean, even some different things like that. When you're talking to professional women, why is it so important that we have the self-care in there? Because, it's easy to say, I need to work 80 hours. I need to hit all these milestones and all that stuff. But we forget to schedule some self-care.
I think there's a lot of different reasons why that comes up. And I think it's for women and men, because I will executive coach anybody that is looking for that service. But I think it comes back to, as a leader, whether you're, no matter where you're at, whatever stress you're going under, your team is ultimately going to suffer from that. That's number one. Number two, you are going to suffer from that, depending on the type of stress. It's important to understand that there's good stress and then there's not so great stress. And the good stress is the stuff that helps you move forward, that helps you obtain goals, right? Maybe it's getting married to someone that you love. Maybe it's going for a promotion, right? And you get those like little stress butterflies and things like that. Yes, that little push. They have that new show with Chris Hemsworth about him putting himself through different like scenarios that stress him out, right? And playing the drums for Ed Sheeran, and he doesn't know how to play drums, but it rewires your brain. And yes, I do have a background in psychology. I'm not a clinical psychologist. I just want to make sure I clarify that. But going back to everything that you do in those stressful situations, again, reflects on you, but also your team. So some people are, growing up, I think about what did you do as a kid? Like, were you always supposed to keep your hands moving? And, if you got time to clean, you got time to clean, or do laundry while you're watching TV or your cartoons. And are you in that hustle culture, or are you able to balance, okay, once I leave the workplace, no more phone calls. Right. No more phone calls, right? And
see what's up.
no checking in with the team. Are you taking off your distractions? And because if I go in and I'm not focused for my team, then they're feeling the stress. And depending on what kind of leader I am to them, will decide how they respond to that. So it's either going to put them in a position to not want to work, to overperform, which then stresses them out, or to feel like they have to cater to me and take care of me, which is nice in some ways, but not necessary, and not when I'm in the role of trying to help them reach their goals. So I think it's important that way, health-wise, mentally, and stressfully, physically, and emotionally. Yeah,
definitely, because, it'll manifest, stress can manifest physically, too.
Yes, absolutely, with GI issues, with migraines, with, diseases, absolutely, your immune system gets shut down. And a lot of people will say, the experts will say, go to physical things to help you with stress, like yoga, Pilates, which I believe is fantastic for some people. I am not that person. I want to.
How do you decompress?
Oh, yeah, not with that. I get stressed thinking about, what do I have to do to get in this pose, and I have to keep my eye on the TV and make sure I'm doing the warrior. But I get stressed thinking about it. So what I do is I'll listen to frequencies on YouTube. They have those 11-hour videos where it's certain tones and certain frequencies that can just lower your cortisol and just calm you down and get you into a zone of maybe even napping. Because if I meditate in a quiet space, I'm thinking about all the little things I'm hearing as opposed to just trying to focus on the silence.
Wow.
So I need something in the background. And it's interesting because I'll put it on, I'll play it in my living room, and I just have it on in the background. My dogs will come over and they'll just fall asleep. And then all of a sudden I'm taking a nap. So that's my meditation, is taking a nap in those times. But I also think it's important to talk about the stress that you're going through with somebody that you trust, and saying to them, hey, I don't need answers right now. I just need to vent.
Just listen.
Yes. Because how many times do you say something to somebody and they try to come in and save you and say, did you try this? Did you do that? Did you write this down? What about this? And you're like, I did all those things. I just need to let this out for a second.
Let me just get it. Montana, how do you decompress? You're a new business owner. What kind of advice do you give her? As a new business owner, kind of starting out, things can be stressful.
Everything is very stressful, but it's crazy that you said frequencies, because I actually do listen to frequencies when I go to sleep to help me decompress and to help me get into a deep slumber.
Wow!
So I can reset.
Yeah,
I'll send you some. Good, really good. And then I'm a big advocate on the spa. I'm a spa girl. That and. I shouldn't say wine, but a glass every 30 days, on the beach at the winery.
Nice.
It's always nice.
That's beautiful. Yeah, this morning it's Monday, and I'm I got the text message, hey, don't forget you have the massage this morning at 10:30. And I'm I don't have time for this. And then I was you know what? No. I went and I was I scheduled them, because otherwise I won't go.
Right.
So it's you have to schedule yourself some time.
Yes.
But even I don't know about you, but even in that moment when maybe I'm getting my nails done and I've, waited 4 weeks and it's time to get it done, I'm sitting there antsy thinking about all the things I could be doing while I'm getting my nails done.
Oh,
so even as somebody that's experienced and will help others, it's easier to say what to do than to actually do it for yourself. But it's incredibly important, those little things, because if I didn't get something as simple as that done, then I'm stressing about the meeting I have the next day, where I'm going to show up and not feel like I look polished. And if you don't look and feel confident, then it's going to come across as such. And so it's those little things that add up as to if your neck is tense and, your back is hurting and you don't go to the chiropractor, you don't go get a massage. And I know that they're going to talk to me later about this and call me and say they heard this. But if you don't go get those things done, then, ultimately you end up paying for it later. The universe will make sure you remember to get it done next time.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's so true. So even for men, what are some techniques that they can use? Because these seem like things that more women might gravitate towards.
I think with men, the advice that I give is that they have to find a group of men to talk about it with. I think that's the biggest thing, is community first. That's in the hierarchy of needs, is having a support group that you could go to. If you isolate yourself, or if you show I got this, I could take this all on, I don't have to share, I have to be strong, I have to do this, then again, the universe or your body or something is going to happen that shows you need a support system. And you also need to show people around you that you trust them to take care of you, that you have that faith in them to be part of your life in a way that supports you just the way that you would support them. And I think about my husband, he works from home. So it's a lot different when you have a team in California that you don't get to see and you don't get to like physically interact with, like, you know, going out to eat or, you know, just letting steam off. But he has a group of friends that they do talk about things outside of work with. And, you know, they could do video games together, or they could talk about whatever they want to talk about on their podcast. And I think that's important too, is being able to vent with people outside your situation.
So do you have a Voices coming up, or how's that going?
I do. I took a hiatus just for a little bit. I think a lot of stories that came out were so great, and they just had to settle into the community for a little bit. And now that my reach has stretched, I'm starting a new class in January. Have the class almost filled. We have maybe one more spot left, which is exciting. But I'm also doing a train the trainer session because women's voices has to spread. And so I want other women to learn my methodology so they can go and start their own in different areas of Florida, so that we can get more women into classes and using their voice and getting the skill set. It's a lot different than Toastmasters.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So how long is the Train the Trainer class?
It's the same amount of time as the Women's Voices student classes, which is 10 weeks. It's 2 hours a week. And you can reach out to me to find the information out, but you get all the tools. You get me, you get access to it. You get real live in-person trainings where you get to work with a class. And then I give you all the tools to start your own classes.
Can it be done remotely?
It can. I'm still building that class because I do have people from out of state asking me in New York, Oklahoma. I got messages from, and I said, this is great, but right now let's finalize and really narrow down what needs to be done in person before I can translate that over a Zoom.
Is there somebody who has been a mentor for you in your life that you just really look back as that shining example?
Oh, gosh. There's so many women that have been examples. I would have to say my mom, Marianne Lopez, first. And then I've had leaders in my life. Right now I have Teresa Rand, which I'm never letting go of her, and she knows that. But there's women in our community in business right now that have been on here that you guys support, which I love. Every woman that I come across has been a mentor in some way because they all have different lived experiences, right? And so there's always something that a woman can share that they do that I'm just like, wow, like I love what you do and I love that for you. That's not my hobby. That's not my talent. That's your talent. And that's a magic that I love that you're sharing and giving to the world. And that's what I hope to bring out in other women so they could do the same thing for others.
Really be individuals.
Yeah, and be their cheerleader. You know, like I love that you do this. I love that you're on the air and that you're on the radio, right? And for you, it seems like you would be like, yeah, but this is just what I do. Like, this is my thing. But for people who don't do it every day, we look at you and we're like, wow, how do you do this with different personalities all the time and hear their stories and talk to them? And it's your magic. And
it's because people are amazing.
Well, yeah, that helps, right? when you have some amazing people, but also it's the amazing talent that you have to bring it out of people to share those things with you in the period of time that they have. And so I always tell people, you have a magic that you get to share with the world. And if you don't share it, then what are you doing? What are you doing?
I can't wait to see Montana's magic. I'm checking out her Facebook page later.
Yes.
Oop, that's right.
I'll bring you some goodies.
There you go.
So tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, they can reach me by, you could do email, sayhi@tiffanyrufino.com, or you could go to my website, tiffanyrufino.com. There's all different ways to contact me. I am on Facebook under the same name, or Instagram, Tiff Rufino. I'm very interactive on social media. I'd love to connect with you.
Now, there's a special spelling of your last name with one F.
Yes.
So make sure you tell how to spell that.
So it's TIFFANYRUFINO, not two F's in the last name. Thank you for
I
that.
always want to put that in there. Tell us how to get in touch with you, Montana.
Okay, so you can DM me on Instagram. It's going to be Serene Noir _Lux, LUX, or Big Chef Tana on Instagram.
I like that one. That's super cool. Well, thank you guys for coming in, and I hope everybody out there kind of like takes something from it and really feels empowered.
Yes, I do too. And if there's anything that you want to talk about as far as public speaking or feeling empowered, I'm your girl for sure.
She definitely is. So give her a shout, and then she's going to make this special cupcakes when you graduate your Voices class, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Let's do that. Oh, look at you.
All right. So we want to thank WNZF News Radio, Flagler News Weekly, the Vigilante Philanthropists, Massage by Natalie and Company. Thanks, girl. And also the Benjamin Moore Paint Store right here in Palm Coast for sponsoring the show. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.